On this episode of Just Informed Talk, we have an incredible story of Mexican national soldiers on the border detaining U.S. soldiers on American soil. You guys got to stick around to hear this story. But first, we're going to take a second to talk about what is going on with Silicon Valley and the way they want to censor everything coming. Just to prove a point, we're going to talk about how my latest video just got banned worldwide by Fox because it exposed some pretty embarrassing truths about the network. But you guys are going to stick around and check it out. Hi, I'm Craig, and welcome to another episode of Just Informed Talk. I always like to begin by saying thank you to everybody who's hit that subscribe button. If you haven't, please come here on the landing page, click the big red subscribe button, and make sure you hit the bell for notifications so you get notified when these videos get posted. Also, there's a little thumbs up button at the bottom of this video. Go ahead and push that if you like this stuff and you want to see me make more. So with that being said, we have a lot to get into here on this episode. First of all, this is the latest Q post. Now, we had this a few days ago. There's not been anything new for the last few days, but as always, I'm expecting much more to come. This is just one of those dead periods where, usually when Q's not talking, stuff's happening behind the scenes, and there is a lot of stuff happening behind the scenes. But this is where we left off. If you guys want to get caught up, I always encourage everyone to come back here, watch these last few videos. I would tell you to watch my latest video, but it's apparently been banned worldwide, and it's not showing up on my channel, and I don't even know if you guys can actually go and watch it. Maybe I'll throw a link to it down in the description and see if it comes up for you guys, because I believe I could still watch it, but I'm not sure that you guys are able to do that. What's kind of funny, though, is that that's where we're going to kind of start. So this is my video. It was basically a completely fair use compilation of different news stories, presenting them to you in a way that delivers a transformative piece that is also informative, and it is meant to be educational / news, and free use, fair use, I mean, just doesn't seem to apply because it's been blocked in all countries now by Fox News. And the matching content that they want to ban you from being able to see, if you guys haven't seen that video, is actually this. It's Mayor Giuliani with Chris Matthews, or Chris Wallace, excuse me. And it's just this, it's about a 14-minute segment where basically Chris Wallace gets destroyed by Rudy Giuliani. And not only does he get destroyed by Rudy Giuliani, he gets completely exposed as one of the pushers of the fake Russia hoax, and trying to, I don't know if he was just trying to play devil's advocate. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt and say that's very possible. But if you guys watch this video, I'll leave a link to it in the description, and if you can watch it, go watch it. But if you watch this video, what's hilarious to me is, in its entirety, the segment that I transformatively incorporated into a news broadcast, you watch it, it's just point by point. Chris Matthews is going through each one of the basically liberal leftist talking points about how, regardless of the fact that Robert Mueller's report didn't show that President Trump was guilty of collusion and that they're trying to get him for obstruction of a crime he didn't commit, that regardless of that, he should be basically reinvestigated by Congress, because in the Mueller report it basically says, well, that's Congress's job and not mine. I'm just, a simple old special counsel, from around the way. And that's Robert Mueller, of course. But this video is just basically embarrassing to Fox. And if you read through the comments on this video as I was, I mean, there was just some vitriolic disdain for Chris Wallace and the way he was doing it. Now, for me, he's a reporter. He's trying to do his investigation. He's trying to play devil's advocate, whatever you want to call it. But the fact that Fox News went and sought out this video, and I'm not going to get into other stuff that would make my point even stronger, because it's not worth bringing up right now, in case certain individuals are watching. But let's just put it this way. Why would they go seek out this piece of video evidence and try to basically whitewash it off the internet? Because it exposes them for what they've become and what they're becoming. They're not, there's a few people on Fox News who I respect. I enjoy watching their content, but there's a large number of individuals that are basically as MSM, lamestream, fake stream media as it gets, right? Pushing liberal talking points, basically disallowing people they invite onto their shows to state points because they're going to control what they say. Like it's some kind of authoritarian fascist news network that decides, we don't want to hear what they have to say. But not to lay into them too hard, I really believe that this is just an embarrassing video for them, and they don't want you to see it. They don't want you to see one of their top anchors, this Chris Wallace, basically make himself look like a complete fool and get totally destroyed, metaphorically speaking, by Rudy Giuliani, President Trump's lawyer. And look, this is where we've come to. Okay, this is the place that we have come to. They ban it. It's thrown into the memory hole. You guys aren't allowed to see this. Only they're allowed to report on this. Only they're allowed to show you this news segment, because then they can editorialize it when they write their little fluff pieces on foxnews.com and say Chris Wallace lays into Trump's lawyer. And then they have a whole article written around the video so that they can counter everything that Rudy Giuliani says. Just like the CNN, just like MSNBC, they're no different. And not only are they not different, they're getting worse and worse every day. There's only a few people on there who I really want to listen to or even hear what they have to say, because they're the only people on that network who are objective. And I'm talking about Tucker Carlson, and I'm talking about Sean Hannity. And you can say whatever you want. You're left or right, you can say, oh, well, they're not objective. Actually, they are. If you go on facts, then they are objective. And they don't editorialize and spin every single fact to suit their narrative. They actually present the facts as they are in reality, and then they let you decide, which is something that most media companies don't want. And they're trying to get rid of everyone who will do that. And Chris Wallace is the perfect company man anchor who's going to toe the line and say these ridiculous tries to get Giuliani with these gotcha moments, and when Giuliani tries to respond, all he does is try to cut him off, and because he asks him these loaded questions, and then when Giuliani gives him more than 2-sentence answer, he goes, well, we have time constraints. This is a news organization. We have a broadcast going here, and you're like, dude, why are you even a reporter? Why are you even a news network? Why do you even have a show? Why? If you can't take criticism, if you can't have somebody come and disagree with you and just, instead of trying to undercut their argument and say, look, you're like, they're saying like, oh, there's time constraints and you're not answering the questions, when he obviously was never even given a chance to answer the question with a complex or comprehensive answer. I'm talking about Giuliani. Why are you even doing this? I think that's something that we all need to think about. Why do we watch this editorialized garbage? Right, and then we let these people just completely go after your ability to see the the raw information, right? And yeah, even on Twitter, right? So I even this is kind of funny. I tweeted this out basically after I got the email from YouTube where they basically were telling me that my latest video was copyright claimed by Fox News and has now been banned globally. And it says probably because everyone was seeing Chris Wallace getting metaphorically destroyed by Rudy Giuliani. And then I said, fair use doesn't matter. Video is banned and gone. Hashtag faux news. Well, guess who replied? I actually got a reply from YouTube for once in my life. It's funny, they give you this generic response of, thanks for reaching out. If you believe the claim is invalid, you can dispute it. Here's how. And they give you a link to a nice helpful link here. It says, you may also want to take a look at info on how Content ID claim works. Yeah, so they'll explain to me why basically I was completely over the target. And when it comes to exposing Chris Wallace with this ridiculous attempted gotcha interview he tried to do on Rudy Giuliani. And then, and I didn't even... the funny thing is it was transformative. I mean, I made it into a new work, and it's educational. It's kind of satirical. It's completely covered under fair use. But they went and they've basically gone and tried to get the whole video banned and removed. So I'm just sitting here thinking to myself, like, this is just where it's going to keep going into the future. It's like if they don't If there's something embarrassing, they'll come after you. They won't let this information get out there. And as far as I'm concerned, look, this is just, in the words of the mayor of London, this is part and parcel of living in 2019, right? Is not just what he would say, which his comments, I think, were something to the effect of that terrorism is part and parcel of living in a major city. Well, I guess just completely being deep, taking your content down is just part and parcel of 2019 and free speech, fair use. Who cares about all that? We're going to go after that video because it makes us look bad. Do you see where this is headed? Oh, it just gets worse. I mean, here's a story that I was going to cover the other day. It came out before Easter here, talking about the Google leftists panicking about leaks that threaten the employment, and they're threatening the employment of colleagues. Well, apparently, the person who's been leaking all of these internal conversations out of Google has possibly been identified. And here is the part of the story where it kind of puts this together. It says, the leak in question, and the broader context of this story is talking about how inside Google, there's an atmosphere where the leftist, liberal progressives are ganging up on all the conservatives and basically making a point to tell their fellow coworkers in these private, chat conversations that, we don't like these kind of ideas. We think that they're wrong, and we think that we're the moral arbiters of what's good and what's right in society because we're obviously better than everyone who is not a leftist, progressive, liberal, obviously. And that gives them the right to basically go after these people. And then, if you're a conservative with a dissenting opinion who's trying to point out the fact that you're being targeted inside your own company, then you need to be fired. That's really the answer. The answer is not to really go in and try to figure out what's wrong with the company where their politics have become so pronounced within their organization that there's no room for a debate. There's only room for authoritarianism. No. You don't want to address that. What you want to address is the guy who's pointing it out to you, right? It's like you're going to go after the messenger here. So that's what's happening. And they just really, I think that Silicon Valley and Google more broadly just glance over the fact that half the country or more is either a moderate conservative or a conservative or some iteration of that, obviously, or just not left-leaning, not liberal, not liberally biased. And they just skim over that. They look at us as basically less than what they are. They are morally superior. They know what's right. They know what we need to know, and they'll tell us what we should think and what we should do because they have the right morals, they have the right values, and they have the right ideas for how to make everything work better for them, obviously. But as they would say, for everyone. Don't forget, this is the same company that used to have a slogan that said, do not be evil. If your company's slogan literally has to tell you not to be evil, you're probably an evil company. Let's just throw that out there. But let's read the story. It's hilariously fun from Breitbart, saying the leak in question was a Medium post by conservative Google software engineer Mike Wacker. In the post, the employee published anonymized messages from inside the company to draw attention to hostile working conditions faced by employees who expressed non-left-wing opinions at Google. Leftists at Google are now blaming Wacker for the leak of messages from the Transparency and Ethics Division discussion group about Kate Coles James, the conservative voice on Google's now canceled AI Advisory Council. In the messages, Google employee accused the African-American grandmother and president of the Heritage Foundation of being a vocal bigot who supported exterminationist views. So you can go on and read the story. I'll leave a link to it. There's more to it, but it's just indicative of what's happening. And, again, this is a story that just came out from Wired, where they're talking about how all of these platforms, after what happened in New Zealand, are talking about how they need to have centralized censorship. Oh, yeah, that's the answer. Why don't we keep removing every one of the constitutionally guaranteed rights that we have as citizens of the United States one by one because some guys in Silicon Valley think it's the right thing to do? I don't remember any election where I went and voted for Sundar Pichai to go run Google. And that's fine. I'm not like a communist who wants that. But I'm just saying, these people should not be allowed to be the arbiters of what's good in society and then basically effectively implement policies on their open speech platforms that restrict free speech. And it's not just them. It's all over. Here's a great article that just came out about the Koch brothers and how they're basically putting these petitions out into Congress. They're lobbying the Judiciary Committee members with this from their Americans for Prosperity group, saying that wanting the members to oppose any effort to use antitrust laws to break up America's innovative tech companies. Now, there's a lot of people who are on both sides of this, but let's just be honest. Their argument is completely ridiculous. Like it says here, they say, quote, government, and this is the name of the actual petition. It says, quote, government shouldn't pick winners and losers on the internet. As this article aptly points out here, it literally says the government already picks winners and losers on the internet by allowing Silicon Valley to ban independent truth tellers like Alex Jones, Milo, Laura Loomer, and Roger Stone, and shadow ban many good American patriots who simply want to share information about deep state corruption that won't get picked up by the mainstream media. So I don't understand, but this is all about it. I've said this a million times. It's all about controlling the narrative, controlling information, controlling what you think, controlling what you see. That's what they're in the business of. They're in the business of gathering every piece of information they can about you to sell to advertisers and third parties that you don't know or never will see, right? But they'll give them every one of your piece of your personal private information for a profit. And then at the same time, they'll turn around and tell you to your face, well, we're going to decide what you can and can't see. By the way, we're going to restrict your First Amendment rights. By the way. And you know what? There's no other alternatives. If there was anything that was remotely close to what YouTube is, or Google is, besides like, I guess maybe DuckDuckGo, but that's even not as, it just doesn't have the same amount of power and features. But there's nothing that's like YouTube. If there was something, everybody would go there, I'm sure. But then that would end up probably in the same position we are now. So we have to look at the problem from the inside. What's happening that's causing all this? Of course, you have Facebook. It's like I'm not picking on any one of these people. Just start looking at these stories coming out. You can't make this up. Facebook's new chief lawyer is one of the guys who wrote the Patriot Act. You think they're trying to take away your freedoms? You think they're trying to use these tragedies that happen globally and here in our country, and they're weaponizing those against people who haven't broken the law? It's the same argument they make against gun owners. When some nut job goes and does something, they want to say, oh, we'll take everybody's guns. So you're going to punish law-abiding citizens for the actions of a very, very small portion of the population's actions. It's the same thing here. Facebook's now like, well, let's get the guy who wrote the Patriot Act. Maybe he'll be able to give us something pretty ironclad that we can go after him with. I have a guest that I'm going to be interviewing tomorrow. You guys are going to stick around. My good friend Alex Phillips, we have some suggestions for, well, I shouldn't say we, I should say he has some suggestions for what we can do to fight this. And I want to get him on just to have a conversation about it. But you guys have that to look forward to. And these are the kind of stories they don't want us reporting on. First of all, here's an email, 2015 email that was to John Podesta, which revealed a plot to, quote unquote, in the email it says, I would say, I guess, metaphorically slaughter Trump by linking him to Putin in Russia. And I'll leave a link to this story. You guys can read through it. But I guess basically what they did is they uncovered that in these emails, they had an internal poll that basically found out that Hillary Clinton's biggest weakness in the run-up to the 2016 election was the fact that Uranium One happened. That they got $140 million funneled into the Clinton Foundation from the same people who managed to get a deal to extract 20% of our national uranium supply and sell it to Russia. And that's the whole time when Clinton went over and got a $500,000 speech for whatever. Obviously, money was put into the Clinton Foundation from donors, and it was all obviously pay to play when you start reading into this and you look at it. But yeah, let's have an investigation. Let's get down to the bottom of it. Not that we haven't already been investigating this for a long time, and that Huber and all of them are not investigating this behind the scenes. But that being said, this email basically shows they had the intent the Machiavellian intent of putting this on President Trump. You accuse your opponent of what you are most guilty of. And she was most guilty of colluding with the Russians. So the story is President Trump's a Russian agent. Let's get every mainstream media outlet to run this story nonstop ad nauseum. We'll get our former intelligence chiefs like Brennan and Clapper to go leak and Comey to leak information to the press so that they don't stop, and that we can use it to meddle in the 2018 election and hopefully get President Trump impeached and or use it as a way to win the 2020 election and to seize power back. It's a coup. This was a coup attempt. You guys can tell. I mean, it was like, what do you say to all this stuff? Anyway, you can read that story. And then there is this story. This is from Political Insider talking about how President Trump here is having to sue, well, the Trump organization, I should say, is having to sue Jerry Nadler, who's trying to get all the, tax information on President Trump. Do you see what's happening here? And even Jim Jordan pointed out that the House, Elijah Cummings, drew up a secret memorandum of understanding that was signed by Maxine Waters and Adam Schiff. It's like they have a little pact they're put together. We're not going to stop going after your president until we effectively get our coup off and done. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to steal the election. They're trying to posthumously steal the presidency from a duly elected president and subvert the will of the American people. And they're having little memorandums of understanding that they're all signing in back closed doors with one another. So they're going after the taxes. They're going after the obstruction. They're going after all these asinine things. And why are they doing it? Simply put, because they are the ones who are most guilty. It's the same Machiavellian tactic. You whatever you're most guilty of, let's go after that. Let's throw it on our enemy, on our opponent. And I mean, look, this is where we're at. Not to mention the fact that this story just broke today, talking about Mexican soldiers detaining American soldiers on U.S. soil. This is a story that's just breaking. But apparently, this is not fake. This is real. On April 13th, this year, at around 2 p.m. Central Time, a group of 5 or 6 suspected Mexican soldiers approached an unmarked vehicle of 2 U.S. soldiers stationed at the border in El Paso County, Texas, and ordered them out of the vehicle. According to Newsweek, which obtained the serious incident report, the soldiers were in fact active duty members of B Battery, 1st Battalion, 37th Field Artillery Regiment, not from a National Guard unit. The Mexican soldiers disarmed one of the U.S. soldiers and placed his sidearm in the U.S. vehicle. While the soldiers were parked south of the border fence near Clinton, Texas, they were north of the Rio Grande riverbed, which placed them appropriately in U.S. territory. So this is happening, and there are bigger stories that we could be focused on, but this is the game they're playing. They're trying to drive everything internal. They're trying to basically destroy from within. You have this complete complicity of certain liberal leftist factions in the U.S. government, especially the representative branch, with individuals in the House of Representatives who are actively trying to undermine the duly elected president. Then on the external side, you have these big tech companies, and they're coming with what they have, which is basically censorship, and they're trying to control the narrative and control what you see and hear. And then you have these outside actors who are trying to take advantage of our country. And look, we're getting it from all sides. And if we're getting all this flack, it must mean we're over the target, as they say. But that's pretty much it. And also, I just want to say, for the Sri Lanka thing, thoughts and prayers. I'm just going to keep praying. And it's sad, they call Christians Easter worshipers because they're afraid to use the common terms because they're afraid of their own. They'll get eaten by their own. That's what it is. And not only that, there's just so many, there's just all these different stories with why was Podesta in New Zealand right before what happened there? Why was Michelle Obama in France and right in Notre Dame right before that happened? And then Nancy Pelosi was right here before this Lyra McKee story happened. So look, all of these things, they're worth digging into further, but at the same time, is it surprising? No. It's all part of a broader conspiracy, in my opinion, that is yet to be fully understood, I think, by anyone. So we're still in the process of uncovering this information and examining it and trying to figure out what it all means. But I will say this, before I go, what you saw here, everything I've shown you, is just a small sampling of what's really going on every day. And they're trying to chisel away at your rights, your ability to obtain information, your ability to have the freedom to choose and pick and choose the information that you want to examine more closely. They're trying to restrain your rights. And they're trying to do it in a way that's cloaked under this, oh, well, we're better than you. We're morally superior. We have a better idea of what's best for you. And I just don't believe it for 1 second. So that's it. A few ways you can help out the channel. Obviously, watch these videos, share them. And don't forget to leave your thoughts, theories, and insights down in the comments. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit that thumbs up button if you guys want to see more of this content. And when you hit the subscribe button, obviously that helps out big time too. A few other ways you can help, just go over. You can find me over here on Twitter, like I said before, at JustInformYou over here on Twitter. That's a great way to reach out. You can go find justinformednews.com, the official website for Just Informed Talk, where you get links to the Q stuff, links to different news websites, links to breaking news articles, and of course all the videos from the channel here. A couple ways you can help out financially. Patreon, Patreon, the group crowdfunding website. You come here, there'll be a link in the description. Click this button to become a patron. That is, I need you guys' help. If they keep ripping my content down and they demonetize it and they do all these crazy things, the algorithms that basically are tantamount to shadow banning, I need and depend on you guys to support the channel, and I can't tell you how thankful I am for your support. I also have a GoFundMe set up if you want to make a one-time or anonymous donation. That's all available down in the description if you guys want links. Before we go, we do a segment at the end of each one of these episodes called God's Grace is Greater, because my calling in life is to be an evangelist for our Lord and Savior and to help create more light in the world. So I want to read this Philippians verse to you out of chapter 2, verses 12. It's talking about lights in the world, and I think it's very appropriate. It says, so then, it's chapter 2, verses 12 through 18. So then, my dear friends, just as you have always obeyed, not only in my presence, but now even more in my absence, work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. For it is God who is working in you, enabling you both to will and to act for his good purpose. Do everything without grumbling and arguing, so that you may be blameless and pure, children of God, who are faultless in a crooked and perverted generation, among whom you shine like stars in the world. Hold firmly the message of life. Then I can boast in the day of Christ that I didn't run in vain or labor for nothing. But even if I am poured out as a drink offering on the sacrifice and service of your faith, I am glad and rejoice with all of you. In the same way, you also should rejoice and share your joy with me. And there you go. So no matter what, I think that we're called to do what's right in this world. We're called to do what's good. We're called to speak out against injustice. We're called to stand up against what we perceive as being, wrong, and or corrupt, and or evil, and or just twisted or awful. And that's what we're doing every day. And that's what I'm asking you guys to remember to do in your own lives with your family and friends and loved ones. Don't ever stop being good. Don't ever stop being righteous. Don't ever stop being just one of God's children. And that's where I'll leave it. I want to say thank you guys for coming here. A few ways, make sure, now's a great time. Come here, click the big red subscribe button, make sure you hit the bell for notifications, and there's a like button. Click that button if you guys like this content and want to see me make more. That's going to be it for me. I want to say thank you for watching Just Informed Talk. My name is Craig. Godspeed and God bless each and every one of you, Patriots.